what evidence the prosecution had, he was more certain than ever that his son would be released and the charges thrown out. He listed a lack of blood evidence, no DNA evidence tying Jordan to the crime, no fingerprints or gunshot residue suspicious enough to imply guilt. Everything was circumstantial from his point of view, and Chris Brown did not feel that the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania proved that his son shot his fiancée.
Jordan loved Kenzie, still does, and he misses her. I hope that justice is served, Jordan is released, and at this point, you can never give back what's been taken from him. You know, I feel bad, genuinely feel bad for the Houk family that they have been convinced by this team of investigators who conducted an inadequate investigation that Jordan did this.
According to initial reports in February 2009, prosecutors' main piece of evidence was the thin blue blanket collected from the scene. They had contended that Jordan used the blanket to camouflage the youth-style 20-gauge shotgun to shield the firearm from view as he came downstairs and entered Kenzie's bedroom. Prosecutors alleged that Jordan fired the deadly shot through the blanket, killing Kenzie, as this blanket had a quarter-sized burn hole in it. Other evidence included clothing with a negligible amount of gunshot residue present, as well as a spent shotgun shell collected from along the children's walking route to the bus stop. A deputy reported that, after investigating the home and finding multiple firearms and an open box of ammo, the youth model 20-gauge shotgun smelled as though it had recently been fired. District Attorney John Bojavengo had stated when Jordan was charged that there was zero evidence of forced entry or an intruder. He mentioned that Jordan was in the process of giving up his room to the new baby, citing jealousy as a possible motive. Take note that although the evidence regarding the camouflaged gun, the uninvestigated loud boom, and the discovery of the spent shell matching Jordan's youth shotgun all came from the interview of Kenzie's 7-year-old daughter, she did not testify as to her recollections of that morning. On April 13, 2012, Jordan Brown was adjudicated delinquent, which is the juvenile equivalent to guilty, and on May 19, after 1,173 days housed at a holding facility, his case was dispositioned to a sentence of treatment and counseling. Judge Hodge would receive a report every 6 months regarding Jordan's progress, and he could have been held for the next 7 years until his 21st birthday in August of 2018. The defense immediately expressed their intention to appeal Jordan's conviction, planning to request a new trial or even a full acquittal. They stood behind their belief that the prosecution did not provide strong enough evidence to convict him. Jordan's first evaluation hearing took place November 2, 2012, when he was 15 years old, and although it was closed to the media and public, Kenzie's father and sister both shed some light on what took place behind closed doors. They stated that the psychologist who was treating Jordan, Dr. Ronald Sharp, testified that Jordan would not open up and answer any questions about his feelings. The Houk family contended that after years of being told to keep quiet by his defense team and other adults around him, Jordan possibly no longer recalled exactly what had happened that day. Although he tested at a college-level intellect with no mental illness diagnosed, he was simply not responsive, and the request to move him to a more suitable facility was made during that hearing. Judge Hodge ruled that Jordan could be moved closer to home, to the maximum security portion of the George Jr. Republic located in Grove City, Pennsylvania, where more than 1,000 juveniles from around the country were housed. May 8, 2013 saw the Superior Court finally addressing the appeal made by the defense, sending the case back to Lawrence County Juvenile Court by overturning Judge Hodge's delinquency adjudication. The prosecution immediately appealed, and the Superior Court rejected their appeal. They then appealed to the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania in March of 2014. In December 2014, a full 9 months later, the Supreme Court continued the trend of siding with the defense, sending the case back to juvenile court. It would again be up to Judge Hodge to determine Jordan's fate and whether he would receive a new trial or not. By the first week of March 2015, defense attorney Dennis Alisco and his team argued in a closed juvenile proceeding that a now 17-year-old Jordan should have all charges dismissed or be granted a new trial based on rulings from both the Superior and Supreme Courts of Pennsylvania. The defense team proposed that the most likely suspect was actually Kenzie's ex-boyfriend. Jordan had been held for 6 years straight by then, with no resolution to his case in sight, while at that time most juvenile proceedings were complete within 6 months of the offense. Judge Hodge went on to rule in May of 2015 that no new trial or acquittal was warranted. The defense once again voiced their plan to appeal the ruling. Almost a full year would pass when, after a scheduled evaluation hearing in late March 2016, the defense simply stated that they continued to await a date to argue the Superior Court for a new trial.
Because he's lost his childhood on a false conviction and he needs to be exonerated. He's been incarcerated essentially since he was 11 years old, and I can't put a dollar value on that, but he's lost his childhood and we want him to be exonerated.
At a placement review hearing held on June 13, 2016, Judge Hodge released Jordan Brown from custody, now aged 18, on parole until he turned 21, this August of 2018. The Houk family was understandably upset and disgusted. Kenzie's mother, Deborah, who along with Kenzie's dad, Jack, had been raising the girls since the murder, voiced her concerns that the girls may encounter Jordan while out just being teens. Jordan was released into the custody of his father's aunt and uncle right across the Pennsylvania border in Boardman, Ohio. Although Jordan was barred from entering Lawrence County, Pennsylvania, Deborah emphasized that Kenzie's daughters are now young teens who frequently shopped in the proximity of his new residence, and that she wished he could be forced to move farther away. She let it be known that she no longer felt safe and that they planned to move. She felt that her granddaughters and baby Christopher's and Kenzie's stories were just as important as Jordan's. She was tired of hearing that he was doing well. She didn't want to hear about his name change or his full ride to college. Her granddaughters had received nothing. She highlighted the fact that although Jordan had had unlimited support and resources as a killer, he had not taken part or participated in the required treatment properly. He was not rehabilitated. He had never spoken of or admitted anything. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court has yet to schedule a date for Jordan Brown's defense team to argue for exoneration. This episode was brought to you by the State of Logic podcast, and join us again next week when we dive into the story of Alyssa Bustamante. Murderous Minors was edited, mixed, and produced by the professionals over at Resonate Recordings. If you're ready to start your podcast journey, check out www.resonaterecordings.com and have your first episode produced for free. Don't be scared.